Once upon a time, there lived a king who had 12 beautiful daughters. These 12 princesses lived all together in a big, beautiful room. The king protected his daughters with his heart, and when they went to bed at night time, he did not allow them to go out. But every morning, they would wake up to something very strange. The shoes of the princesses would all be worn out as if they had danced all night long. The king had to buy his daughters new shoes every day. But the following days after, the shoes just kept wearing out. Neither the king nor his men in the castle could solve the mystery of the shoes.
How is this even possible? How can a pair of shoes worn out like that in just one night? Your Highness, we can't understand.
Finally, the king said,
Whoever solves the mystery of my daughter's shoes will get to marry whichever daughter of mine he chooses, become my son-in-law, and get to be the king when I pass away. But he has 3 days and 3 nights to solve it. Otherwise, he will spend his life in prison.
Many young men in the kingdom and even princes from other kingdoms came to the castle for the job. For days they guarded the door of the 12 princesses' bedroom. But after some time, none of them could solve the mystery, and shoes continued to wear out by the night. Finally, a good-hearted young man also wanted to give it a shot, and so he made his way to the castle. On his way, he met a lanky old lady who looked very poor. "My dear child, I'm very hungry. Would you be kind enough to give me a piece of bread?" The young man gave all the food he had in his bag to the old lady. She was very happy because the previous men who had passed didn't give anything. The old woman knew that this one was different than the others. So, in return, she gave him a magic cape. "Take this magic cape. When you wear it, you will be invisible. When it strikes 12 o'clock at night, put the cape on, be invisible, and get in the princess's room. This way you can solve the mystery of the shoes. But be aware, do not drink what the princesses give you. No, those nasty princesses." The young man took the magic cape and went to the castle. And when he arrived, he said that he was there to solve the mystery of the shoes. First day, when he was keeping guard in front of the princess's room, the oldest princess came out with a glass of lemonade. "You must be thirsty. We have prepared some lemonade for you. Please, have some." The young man forgot about the old lady's warning and drank it. Soon after, he was very sleepy. He fell asleep, snoring all night in the room that they had prepared for him. When it was morning, the young man stood up in a panic.
I was supposed to wear the magic cape and get in the princess's room.
On the second night, the young man once again kept guard in front of the princess's room. This time, another princess came out with a glass of juice in her hand. The young man was so thirsty while keeping guard and waiting for the nightfall. Without thinking, he drank all the juice that had been given to him. And of course, dozed off once again. The next morning when he woke up, he finally remembered the old lady's words. "But be aware, do not drink what the princesses give you."
There must be a sleeping pill in the drinks the princesses give me.
At that moment, the king came next to him.
2 days have gone by and you still haven't solved the mystery of the shoes. If you cannot do it today, you will end up in prison and stay there for the rest of your life.
The king finished his talk and went away. The young man had to solve this mystery today. That night, for the last time, the young man kept guard in front of the princess's door. This time, the youngest princess came out with an orange juice in her hand. But the young man was aware now. He took the glass, thanking the princess, and when the princess left, he poured the orange juice in a pot next to him. This time round, he was standing tall. The night fell and soon it was midnight. The young man put his cape on and at that moment became invisible. Slowly he opened the door and could not believe what he was seeing. All of the princesses were wearing their most beautiful ball gowns, hair and makeup done with their very new shoes. Let's see if the young man at the door has fallen asleep. One of the princesses opened the door and looked outside, and another princess put her ear on the wall. At that moment, the young man knew that he had to make some snoring noises. The oldest princess pushed her bed aside and clapped her hands 3 times. A secret passage opened in the place of the bed. The young man could not believe his eyes. One by one, all the princesses walked inside. And of course, the young man followed. The secret passage was opening to a stairway which had hundreds of steps going down. When they were going down the stairs, at one point the young man accidentally stepped on one of the princess's skirts. Oh, somebody stepped on my skirt! Oh, nonsense. It was probably you. When the stairs had finished, they came into a forest. They went past tall trees with beautiful silver branches. The young man took a branch and kept following the princesses. After another long walk, they stopped on the edge of a river. In the river, there were 12 boats in the shape of swans, and in them there were 12 princes waiting for the princesses. They got on the boats, and the young man got on the last one. The boat seems heavier than usual today, as if another person is on it. Strange. Oh, come on, stop dreaming. When they crossed the river, they came across a big shiny castle, and they could hear music coming from inside. When he looked through the window, the young man saw many people dancing. As soon as they entered the castle, the princesses started to dance. They would never get tired and just kept on dancing. Of course, their shoes started to wear out. The young man could not bear his hunger anymore, so he took a slice of cake on the table and started to eat. The youngest princess saw this. Hey, my cake! My cake is floating as if someone invisible is eating it! Come on, stop it with this nonsense. The young man took a golden cup from the table without anyone noticing. The princesses danced till the morning. Then they got on the boats, crossed the river, walked through the forest, walked up the very long staircase, and finally they came back to their castle. But their shoes were all worn out, once again. The young man was very happy that he had finally solved the mystery of the worn-out shoes. A while later, the king came next to the young man.
Your time is up today. Did you solve the mystery of the shoes? Yes, Your Highness, I did.
And so he told him everything. The king didn't believe him at first. But when the young man showed him the silver branch from the forest and the golden cup from the shining castle, the king knew he was telling the truth. And so he kept his promise and granted him the right to marry whichever princess he chose. The young man said that he wanted to marry the youngest one. The 12 dancing princesses were clearly not happy because their secret was out now. But the young man and the youngest princess got married and lived happily ever after.
One morning, while the treacherous wolf was hunting in the forest, he saw a stork family flying in the sky. He knew they had built a nest in the hills, and they had eggs in that nest. And that gave him an idea.
Ha ha! I found what to eat. Stork eggs. But I have to think about how to get to that hill.
And cuddled up warm in that nest was a baby duck, sleeping soundly. His stork brother rang the bell to wake him up.
Hey, wake up, duck. Quack, quack, quack.
The duck woke and jumped up.
Huh? What's going on?
We're going for a flight. Mama will check the eggs. Don't fall asleep and be eaten by the wolf.
Wolf?
Yes, 'cause you can't fly high like we do. So, see you later, little flightless duck. Bye-bye.
But little did they know, the treacherous wolf was already watching them and planning. When the stork siblings flew up into the sky, the baby duck tried to follow, flapping his little wings on the edge of the reeds. He hoped that one day he'd be able to fly. But his practicing was interrupted when he spotted something shining brightly among the reeds.
Ooh, what's that?
The bright thing he saw was a pair of red shoes.
How beautiful they are. I wonder if they will fit on my feet.
As soon as the baby duck put on the red shoes, he took off from the ground and flew high in an instant.
I'm flying! I'm flying!
The baby duck immediately followed the stork family.
Oh, look, the baby duck is here.
Wow, how did you get so high?
Thanks to my magic red shoes. Look!
Down below, the wolf was watching them in amazement.
Magic red shoes? Now I have a great plan.
At night, while the stork family and the baby duck were sleeping, the wolf sneaked up on them. The red shoes glowed brightly, even in the dark, and he stretched out his claws and grabbed them by the strings.
Tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going to have a stork egg omelet.
The baby duck awoke as the morning sun rose, and he was alarmed when he couldn't see his red shoes next to him.
Oh no, my shoes! My magic shoes are not here! How am I going to fly?
The baby duck rushed to look for the mother and his siblings.
Mother Stork! Brother! Where are you?
However, he could not find them anywhere.
Now I won't be able to fly high without my magic red shoes.
While the baby duck was crying with sadness, he noticed the treacherous wolf flying overhead.
I'm flying! Here I come, stork eggs. It's breakfast time.
Oh, my shoes! The wolf stole my red shoes!
The baby duck tried very hard to follow the wolf, but it took all the strength his little wings had to take off, and then he would fall back down to the ground.
Oh, I have to protect the eggs from the treacherous wolf. Oh, if only I could fly.
The wolf landed in the nest with the magic shoes and stepped towards the stork eggs. The baby duck could see him trying to get the eggs, one by one.
The stork eggs are in danger. I must stop the wolf.
The baby duck mustered up all his courage and flapped his wings as hard as he could.
Eggs! I must save the eggs!
Finally, the baby duck was in flight, high in the sky for the very first time.
I'm flying! Yay! I can fly! Ha!
The baby duck landed and sneaked up on the wolf. He grabbed the shoestrings of the magic shoes and quickly pulled them.
What? The baby duck? Shoes?
Just at that moment, the stork family quickly came to the baby duck and drove the wolf away from the nest with a fury. The treacherous wolf fell into a swamp.
Help!
The stork family thanked the baby duck for saving the eggs.
Now you can fly as high as we do.
Yes!
Then it's time to fly together as a family, kids. The baby duck was so very happy he could fly, and from that day on, he realized that he should never stop trying and that he didn't need magic shoes. He just needed courage and perseverance. So the baby duck became the only brave duck that could fly with the storks in the sky.
Once upon a time, there was a poor widow who lived with her son. Her son Jack did not work because he was a very lazy young man. That was why they almost had no money.
Mom, is there anything to eat? I'm hungry.
Each passing day, they had become poorer and poorer until they had come to a point where they had to sell their cow, Milkwhite, because they could no longer feed her. Jack's mother told him to bring the cow to the marketplace and sell it for the best price he could get. Maybe then they could buy some food to eat. On his way to the market, Jack came across a somewhat weird-looking old man. The old man had a look at the cow and turned to Jack and said,
Hi, my boy. If you give me this cow, I will give you very valuable things in return.
Jack was very happy to hear this. The old man took out 5 beans from his pocket.
Beans? But these are magic beans.
Jack, of course, did not believe him at first. But the old man insisted.
Look, young man, you seem like a good and bright kid. Take these magic beans. You won't regret it. Trust me.
Jack believed the old man and gave him Milkwhite in return for the magic beans. Happy with the exchange he had made, Jack ran home.
Ma, look what I've got!
Seeing Jack running to her so excited, his mother thought that he had sold the cow for a lot of money. But then when Jack showed her the magic beans, his mum was pretty cross. She threw the magic beans into the garden and sent Jack to his room. You are grounded in your room until I tell you to come out, and no dinner for you tonight. In the morning, Jack looked out the window, and he could not believe his eyes. From his bedroom window, he could see a stalk growing up really fast. This was neither a tree or a giant flower. This was a magic beanstalk. Jack jumped on the giant beanstalk from his window. Using the leaves and the twisty vines like the rungs of a ladder, he started to climb up the beanstalk. After a while, he found himself in a weird place where everything was much bigger than normal. He saw a path full of flowers and a very big house at the end of it. Jack came to the house
And knocked on the door.
A lady giant answered.
Well, I was going to ask if you had something to eat.
Yes, I do, but you must disappear before my husband gets back because he loves the taste of young children and so he eats them up.
Jack, of course, was a bit frightened, but also he was very hungry. Just as he was sitting at the table to have a bite, he heard someone talking outside with a deep voice.
Fee, fo, foes, I smell a child with my nose. Raw or cooked, I don't mind. I can't get enough of those.
The woman called out to Jack.
Hide in the oven right this moment, my child.
Jack hid in the oven at once. The giant went into the kitchen and started to sniff around.
I can smell children.
What are you talking about, dear? You're probably smelling the meat I've given the cats yesterday.
After he had finished his dinner, the giant started to count his gold. After a short while, he was tired from counting the gold, and so he fell asleep. Jack came out of the oven and took a bag of gold. He threw the bag right under his magic beanstalk. Then off he went down, holding onto the beanstalk. He found the bag of gold he threw down and ran home right away. When Jack's mother saw the gold, she was very happy. From that day on, there would be no more poverty or hunger for them. But after a few months had passed by, all the gold they had finished. With no other option, Jack climbed up the beanstalk and went to the house of the giants. The giant's wife was somewhat a little suspicious of him this time.
Last time you were here, we lost a bag of gold.
But still she pitied the young boy and invited him in. Not long after, the giant came home.
Fee, fo, foes, I smell a child with my nose. Raw or cooked, I don't mind. I can't get enough of those.
Hearing the giant's song, Jack jumped into the oven once again. After finishing his dinner, the giant asked his wife to bring his chicken. When his wife brought the chicken, he ordered the chicken to lay an egg. Leaving Jack fully surprised, the chicken laid a golden egg. And when the giant went to his room to rest, Jack came out of the oven and took the chicken and rushed down the beanstalk. Thanks to the golden egg, Jack and his mother were rich once again. But after some time had passed, Jack decided to try his luck once again and started to climb up the magic beanstalk. This time he went into the house without being seen by the wife and hid in a big copper pot. Sometime later the giant came home.
Fee, fo, foes. I smell a child with my nose. Raw or cooked, I don't mind. I can't get enough of those.
This time the giant's wife decided she wanted Jack caught.
If there is a child around here, then it should be in the oven.
Of course, Jack had hid somewhere else this time.
The giant and his wife were determined to find the child, but although they searched everywhere in the house, They just could not find him. After their dinner, the giant put a golden harp on the table, and so he ordered play. Playing lullabies, the harp put the giant to sleep. At that moment, Jack knew that he wanted this harp more than anything else in the world. In order to do so, he climbed up the sleeping giant's knee, jumped on the table, and to the harp. But something really unexpected happened. Help! The harp yelled. Jack jumped down the table with the harp on his back. The giant woke up and started to run after him. Jack started to slide down the beanstalk as fast as he could, and the giant followed. When he reached home, Jack called to his mother.
Mom, quick, bring me an axe.
They both started to cut down the beanstalk. And finally, the beanstalk, and of course the giant, fell down on the ground with a big noise. They were safe from the giant.
Oh good, we're safe.
They were safe all right, but Jack was very regretful of all the things he had done. He almost lost his life because of his greed. He promised his mother that he would never ever steal from anyone again, and that he would work really hard from now on. From that day on, Jack and his mother were never poor again. Yes, they did have the golden egg-laying chicken to help, but Jack also never stopped working ever again.